This folio of flower paintings in the Guttmann-Maclay collection was discovered on a bookstall. Beyond that, nothing is known of its origins. It contains a series of flower paintings which were presumably made between the years 1863 and 1868. The first series are not particularly remarkable, either from an artistic or a psychiatric point of view. Note the date of this painting, August the 31st, 1863. 9 months later, the painting is in marked contrast with the preceding pictures. The picture occupies most of the paper, leaving very little background. Some irrelevancies have crept in the form of colored spirals spreading outwards. A written description of the painting appears for the first time, couched in religious and mystical terms. The text suggests that the paintings are offered to a loved person who is partly in the earthly and partly in the spiritual world. There is reference to a new inner feeling, and the crimson fruit is said to represent love of Jesus and implicit faith and reliance on his word. Each tint has its own separate meaning. Blue is emblematic for tenderness, yellow for warmth, crimson is the highest and deepest and purest term. This painting of May 1864 from Halkin Street in Belgravia tends to occupy almost all the paper. The writing is full of personal symbolism. For the first time, other figures and symbols intrude into the paintings. When this occurs in the paintings of schizophrenics, one cannot be sure whether the objects represent hallucinatory material or whether it is the intrusion of fantasy. Since visual hallucinations are not particularly common in schizophrenia, it is perhaps more likely that these figures represent fantasy material. The background is now completely obliterated in this picture, which is dominated by the color white spreading out from the center to the margins. And now writing occurs within the picture for the first time. Especially noticeable is the word shown here, cramo, which may well represent the use of an invented word which occurs in schizophrenia, the so-called neologism. The crucifix shown here is in keeping with the religious trend of thought in the earlier legends and is an example of symbolism in the general sense. figures occur, and other symbols such as the eye and the serpent, and possibly some crude sexual symbolism. Bizarre features of the paintings are now no longer in evidence. This is very much like the first paintings. Evington is a village in Leicestershire. Perhaps the artist was recuperating there, who knows? The date is now October 1865, about 18 months since the paintings first became obviously changed in style. With the return to normal of the paintings in this series, the cycle is complete. It is very difficult to escape the conclusion that the artist went through a schizophrenic episode in the period under review, and that the progress of this illness was reflected in the paintings we have seen. The changes illustrated are those to which attention has often been drawn in the works of schizophrenic painters. The tendency for writing to appear in and in connection with the paintings. The expansion of the picture to fill the whole of the paper. The use of personal as well as general symbols. And above all, a general disintegration in the character of the paintings, so that irrelevant material creeps in, and much of the unity of the artist's original concept becomes fragmented.